So we want to look at a topic that is very critical for those of us who are building a business that we want to see scale all the heights of success. And that is setting your business on momentum. Setting your business on momentum. I am a little bit biased towards my background, physics, as I introduce this topic, to say that momentum basically has to do with the motion and an increasing motion. And remember, we are starting the business from a neutral point. Some of us have not done business before. Others have done a different type of business. Yet we want to make sure that the business we start kicks off and continues moving. But as we say, how you start the business matters a lot. So there is need to set momentum or speed right from the beginning. And as bootcamp members, we don't want to move at a low speed. We want to go by the saying by Martin Luther King Jr., that if you can fly, you fly. But if you cannot fly, you run. If you can't run, you walk. You can't walk, you crawl. But whichever it is, make sure you are moving. You are not static. And so our main concern is to see to it that we are moving at our best speed, at our highest speed. Oprah is against, Oprah Winfrey is usually against comparing yourself with others, but you should always compare yourself with yourself. Asking yourself, am I moving at the highest speed that I'm capable of? Because you could be celebrated by team members for great work done, but you know deep in your heart, you've not even started scratching the surface. And so you want to better your best. So I was thinking about 3 points that perhaps we can use as we build momentum for our business. We all want our businesses to shine. We all want to see ourselves get to president team member. All of us. And although they talk of slow but sure, I disagree a little bit. Sometimes you might be too slow that you stop moving and you don't know you stopped moving. So let's look at 3 things that perhaps will help us to set our businesses on momentum, on a high momentum. And the first one is, again, I said I will be biased a little bit towards physics, but in using easy language, ensure force is greater than resistance. Ensure the force you apply in your business is greater than resistance. In layman, what I'm saying is this, that before you start moving, there is no friction. You don't experience friction. But when you start moving, that's when you feel the friction. You can put your hands like this, assuming that you've not put oil or lotion. And when you start trying to slide the hands against each other, that's when friction comes in. There is no fire. Even if you have the matchbox and matchstick, and you never grade one against the other, there is no fire because there is no friction. And so when you start moving in our business, you expect resistance. Unfortunately, many people, what do? they feel like this is not mine, just because there is resistance, just because there is friction, just because there are forces trying to oppose your motion. But it is important as leaders and bootcamp members to understand that resistance must be there, but then we have to push harder. We have to push harder than the opposing forces. So when you realize that as you talk to people, there are many people who are resisting and saying no, then the solution is not to get out of the field. The solution is to talk to many more people. We were saying today in our training that when they try to tell you that you cannot and to show you that you cannot, that is the time to do it even more, to prove them wrong. So that's what I mean by applying greater force than the resistance. You know, when I started, that is when my close friends in family, in church, in workplace, all over, that is when most people started resisting what I was sharing with them. And it got to a point where some would even avoid me because they thought, oh, it is the business that he has always talked about. But the more they resisted, the more I talked to many more people. But this is what happens. Listen to this. Even in physics, when you keep on applying the force, it gets to a point where now the friction is no longer felt. Can you imagine pushing your business until you get to a point where you don't even experience no's anymore? Even if they are there, you don't even really feel like they are no's. You take it as part of life. You take it as part of what you must go through in this business, and you enjoy it. And you know, we say when you enjoy what you do doesn't become a job, but a hobby or a play. So no motion, no friction, but we cannot stop moving because of resistance. We've got to keep pushing harder and harder and harder. Now, at the beginning, it's tricky. Let me tell you, at the beginning, it's tricky because you've just started the business, and sometimes we have false expectation. We expect that now that Josphat is saying you bring 6 people, they become directors, and you're president. That's an easy thing. It is true, it is easy, but not simple. A huge difference. And as bootcamp members, we are not going for simple things. We are not going for just the easy stuff. We want to do what others won't do so that we can get what others won't get. Always remind yourself of that. I'm tempted to repeat. Do what others won't do so that you can get what others won't get. Always remind yourself of that. When you see some guys dropping off, backsliding, you know, quitting the business, remind yourself you were born for tough things. I was expecting to hear or see on the chat something like amen. I was born for tough things, not for simple things, not for easy things. And you know, even success is not often enjoyed if it was just a smooth ride. Yes, sure, Haron. Right. So I want you to always remind yourself that you are here to build it regardless of the resistance. And when there is resistance, you push harder. You push harder. When you bring some people, you have expectation that they will be teachable, they will build business, they'll be serious, and they just show the opposite. What do? Push harder into bringing many more people. Remember, when we are talking to people, it's like we are getting into a forest, looking for a certain tree. I love this analogy. Looking for a certain tree. and you go through so many trees and you not stop anywhere until you spot the tree that you are looking for. Great. So you start getting into the forest and you keep pressing on until you trace that tree that you've been looking for. And that is where success is. That's where success is. Okay. So that is very important. I don't want to overemphasize that point. But perhaps even as we move on, sometimes it's good to see what your thoughts are. You can always comment, interject on the chat. Now, the second thing I want to suggest that we do is to use multiplier effects. Use multiplier effects. Use multiplier effect for exponential sponsoring. I will explain what I mean. Use multiplier effect for exponential sponsoring. The best way of, and the surest way of gaining huge momentum is making sure that you start with yourself sponsoring massively, but then you work with the willing. Out of the people you have sponsored, you work with the willing, you sit them down, teach them how to sponsor, share their vision, their dream with them, so that they can do what you are doing, so that you're not doing it alone. That's what I'm calling a multiplier effect. So even if you sponsored 5 and 2 are the serious ones, and you multiply yourself through the 2, so that each of the 2 sponsors 5, you can see those are 15. You sponsored 5, each sponsored 5. I mean, 2 of them sponsored 5. 3 might not even sponsor. I want to be as realistic as possible. We don't expect everyone to build the business just because they joined. It's even in the Bible that, you know, the sower went on sowing seeds, and some were grabbed or picked by birds of the air the very minute the seeds landed on the ground. There are some people who are like that. You show them the opportunity and the evil one picks them immediately, and nothing happens in their lives. But there are those 2 who, out of 5, are very serious, are very keen. They know what they want. They are not doing it to, you know, to please you, to make you happy. No, they are doing it because they have a dream. So those are the 2 you work with to multiply yourself. And the beauty is, because they will start getting great benefits, they will also find 2 who will want to emulate them. So the multiplier effect continues. And you are looking at a scenario where you get to a point where the team is sponsoring a total of over 20, 30 people in a month. Guess what? By the time you get to that level of your team sponsoring over 20 per month, then there will be exponential growth. Exponential growth, if we were to draw a curve of an exponential growth, then it would look like something like this. It starts slowly, not much is noticed, you know, like that line there or curve there. They start down here. It's not ascending too fast, it's just gently. But it gets to a point around here where now it's moving very fast up. Even if we said this horizontal line is the energy you are putting in. So at the beginning, you put a lot of energy, but vertically nothing much is happening. But a time comes when now we have that exponential growth around here, where you apply very little force horizontally, but vertically you can see it goes very, very high. I can see Lydia Mwesa is enjoying the physics and mathematics herein. All right. Okay. And that's the nature of our business. But before it gets to that level of exponential growth, you'll have to work very hard. So never be afraid of working very hard at the initial stage. Never be afraid of working very hard at the initial stage of your business. And let me clarify something here, friends. Initial stage doesn't mean the first 1 or 2 months, no, or even the first 1 year, no. Initial stage here, hear me well, loud and clear here. Initial stage of your business is whatever the number of years you take before the business starts to explode. So some of us here could be in our 4th year, but our business is still at the initial stage. Never give up. Keep pushing, because after the initial stage, that business will experience an exponential growth. Homework, remind yourself, and if you don't know, you can search about the Chinese bamboo tree. For Chinese bamboo tree, its initial stage is the first 5 years. That's the initial stage for bamboo tree. But the exponential growth for the Chinese bamboo tree is just after the 5th year. Within 4 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Woo. That is a perfect example of what exponential growth is. 4 weeks equals 90 feet tall, yet 5 years, initial 5 years, no growth at all noticed. And that should encourage everyone in our business. Whether you're moving very fast or slowly, just know that soon your business will explode. So that's the point there. Use multiplier effect for exponential sponsoring. I'm sure you want to ask me, how do I help these 2 out of the 5 who are really willing and ready? And just remind you, how do you know? How do you identify the 2? Who can chat down there what the 3 things we look for when we are trying to check and confirm who are ready, who are these 2 who are ready to succeed, that you should work with, that you can invest your time, your resources in. Who can guess? There are 3 things we've been saying you need to consider to check in them. They must be X, Y, Z. And the minute you establish the X, Y, Z in these people, not X or Y or Z, it is X, Y, and Z, then you are good to go once you have established identified the 2. And now, once you've identified those 2, as I wait to see who knows what X, Y, Z is, once you've identified the 2, number 1, you literally mentor them. This is how mentorship works. At the beginning, the prestige, or who we would call mentee, knows very little. The mentor is the expert, even if you are just slightly older than your mentee. And then you start having time together. You start having time together and have quality time together. Frequent time, not once in a while, frequently. Actually, if possible, you'll talk with these 2 guys every single day. Then as they grow, you can reduce the frequency. At the beginning, you take 90%. Actually, day 1, you have 100% responsibility of their growth. They have 0 because they are newborn. But in the 2nd or 3rd day now, we start moving from 0. for them, so that you have 90% responsibility, they have 10% responsibility. Please, let's take this as a positive challenge for us, because we bring in people and we are parents to them. We try to develop them. Then it goes to 50-50. By 50-50, they are now around almost director, senior manager, executive manager. They are heading to director. Then it will go to, when they are directors, it can go maybe to around 70 or 80. And the award team, you have just like 10% and they have 90%. We are just shy of saying they can do without you because they are now mature, though they will be coming for some consultation. So when you are working with the two, you work so closely together. And for the two, you tell them things as they are. You use the language such as, if you don't train, you are going nowhere. I've seen Harun Masharia writing a training as one of the key important things. You tell them openly. Don't feel like now if I tell them the whole truth, they might run away. Let them run. The earlier they run, the better. The runners will run either way. So the earlier they run, the better. Now let me get back to the three things that you check for. Well, what Harun has put there, it's very true. Okay, Victoria, same, train, sponsor, use products. But even before someone has joined, you can use these 3-point criteria to tell whether they are going to build business. Oh, Lydia, plus willingness, availability. The more we are discussing, the more we are getting closer and closer. Now, we can summarize all this in 3 words. They must be willing. Let me pick that one first. They must be teachable. Teachable is the other one. And they must be hungry. Now, training is captured by teachability. If they are teachable, they will come for trainings. Right? And again, they will come to training if they are hungry for success. You are not the one to pull them for training. It's the hunger, isn't it? It's the hunger that will bring them. Okay. And then they must be willing so that you're not pushing them. They should not be wheelbarrows. If you find someone being a wheelbarrow, then you might not go very far with them. So very, very important criteria right there. So just to summarize, number 2, use multiplier effect for exponential sponsoring. You sponsor massively, then you look for 2 people out of 5 who will also do massive sponsoring. And that continues. You're not ignoring the 3. You're not ignoring the other 3 who are not doing much. Keep engaging them, but don't give them all your time. Some might really want your time, but do they deserve? Okay, but don't ignore them. They might at one point catch the momentum too. Now, the last thing I want to talk about today regarding setting your business on momentum is that you must be strong yourself. You must be strong. Or if you want, build stamina and thick skin. Build stamina and thick skin. This is very, very important if you are to build a high momentum. Build stamina and thick skin, or be strong. This is not a journey for the faint-hearted. It is for the strong. And not only this, success generally is not for the faint-hearted. It's not for people that you shout to and they collapse dead. No. It's for people who are determined to fight for their success. We said on Wednesday last week, that you must stand for what you believe or else you'll fall for anything. You must stand for what you believe, or else you'll fall for anything. Because if you're not standing, then you're falling. So stand for what you believe. And by the way, how strongly do you believe in your own business? Because you'll never release yourself wholly into it if your belief is 90%. You have to be 100% sold out into your business. And I am praying that for us in Bootcamp, Entrepreneurs Bootcamp, we are all totally sold out into our business. It is important to check internally on yourself and ask yourself, am I 100% sold into this business, or do I have some iota of doubt? Don't tell us. Please don't tell us. Don't chat that one down there. But you can write on your notebook. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is 100% sold into the business, that you are ready to do whatever it takes and pay all the costs, any price. And 1 is just being there to see whether it can miraculously work. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Please don't chat that one down. It's personal, it's private and confidential. But it's very important to respond to that question. We say that there are no half-hearted champions. There are no half-hearted champions. It's either you are totally sold, your heart is all in, or it's out. For you to be a champion, your heart must be all in. I love quoting the Bible where it says, a man of double mind is unstable in all his ways. Oh, sorry. A woman of double mind is unstable in all her ways. You know, what that simply means is, if you have double mind, will I not? I might not. Then you are unstable and you cannot achieve much. Even if you don't get anything out of today's training, I want you to remember this point, that for you to succeed, you must be totally sold out into your business. Don't entertain any doubts. Let's go all in. And as we wind up, we expect that as we work for the Ole Sereni Emara event, as we work for the Ole Sereni Emara lifestyle event, I want to believe that all of us in Bootcamp, we are automatically going to qualify for it. Just, okay, Irene is questioning whether the Bible talks of woman in that verse. Yes, because woman came from the man, so it is more of woman actually. All right. Yeah, so that's very important. It's allowed to ask questions in this meeting. So I was saying this, please, let's all qualify. And it is as simple as this. If you are good in sponsoring, then make sure you sponsor 10 personal in the 3 months. You have qualified for the Ole Sereni Emara. If you are good in personal PVs, you have customers, then make sure you are doing an average of 700 points per month, so that in 3 months you have the 2,000 points personal, cumulative. If you really want to take steps, take it to executive manager and beyond, and you have qualified. And so on and so forth. Get the criteria right and go for it. So we are the champions and we must go for it. It doesn't matter what you may go through, because success must be tested. But let's be determined to win. I'm tempted to ask all of us to repeat these ones after me. You are able to unmute, I believe. Aaron, are we able to? Yeah, all of us can unmute ourselves as we close and we repeat these ones after me. Some are not unmuted yet. I want you to repeat these ones. Say this. It's not over.
Not over.
It's not over.
Oh, I cannot hear some people. 1, 2, 3. It's not over.
It's not over
Until I win.
until I win.
It's not over until I win.
It's not over until I win.
Thank you so much. God bless you. It's not over until you and I win.
Until I win.
And we have no option. Let's go for it, guys. You have greatness in you. You have what it takes. Believe in yourself. Believe in the opportunity. Release yourself into all the possibilities of this business. And it will surprise you that the same you are a diamond. You might think you are a charcoal, but with time you realize that you are a diamond. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your families. Let's go for it. This is your month to become a director. Bye-bye.
Amen. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bless you.
By 8 p.m.
Bye.
8 p.m.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be blessed too.